when we take moments to identify our growth point, meaning how we can be better, we inspire those around us to do the same. And so when we do that, there's that exponential impact where those around us get a better vision of what they see for themselves, and we're living our best life. And so my vision is to see that come through in everything that I do, every decision I make, every client I work with, and the organization I'm with today.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. 20-Minute Leaders is a proud supporter of Make-A-Wish Israel and Tech to Peace, and is in proud collaboration with Secret Chord Ventures, J Ventures, Riverside FM, Fusion VC, Birthright Excel, J Impact, Leap, Google for Startups, and Hippo, and in media partnership with CTech. Hello and welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Let's talk about growth. Today I am with Amy Clark, an executive coach and human resources leader who provides meaningful management and leadership development coaching that drives measurable business outcomes. She has more than 20 years of valuable corporate business experience at various Fortune 500 companies and national nonprofit organizations, serving in positions such as Vice President of Talent Management and Chief Human Resources Officer. Amy has a deep passion for connecting with and developing others, and as an all-in thought partner with a track record of being in the trenches and walking alongside leaders. She has invaluable first-hand experience that has informed her belief that coaching people on skills drives transformative change in people. As a leadership development coach, she works one-on-one with visionary, growth-minded leaders to identify key behaviors they want to gain awareness of and help them understand what they can do today to be more successful tomorrow. Amy Clark, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Thank you so much for being here. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Michael. It's great to be here with you.
Thank you for joining me. Where are you joining me from right now, besides the beautiful bookshelf that's behind you?
Yes, beautiful bookshelf. We reside in northern Delaware, Middletown, Delaware. So 30 miles south of Philadelphia, something like that.
All right, awesome. And you are very dedicated to a growth mindset. Mm-hmm. So much so that you're a founder and executive coach at a growth-minded leadership group with a lot of experience with different organizations working on, different talent management, human resources, growth mindset in general. And so I'm excited to, unfold your passion and curiosity for the subject together in these 20 short but meaningful minutes. And so we'll have to just dive right in. Amy, tell me a little bit about your relationship with talent management and growth mindset in general.
Well, it comes across, in the years of, experience that I've been in business and, having, the opportunity to walk alongside leaders in the work that they do with their teams. And how really leadership shows up as a way to inspire yourself and inspire others, to greatness and what's possible. And, so I think it's certainly evolved, been reimagined over the time and in the course of my career in human resources. And I would say over the last 5 years, talent management has surfaced even more in saying, as we think about the environment that changes around us, being ready for the challenges that could come up, how do we really help people see their potential and step into that potential? So organizations that we support do the same. And so for me, it's been something I've researched, delved into so much more. And I think mostly in the experiences that I've had with leaders over the years, been very rewarding and given me the opportunity to think through how do people grow and what does that mean?
All right. That's really cool. Well, what have you sort of learned about yourself so far, in this journey? Because I'm sure that as you work with a lot of talent management, a lot of people, especially talking about growth mindset, I'm sure you get to learn quite a bit about yourself in this journey as well.
Yeah. Thank you for asking me that, because that is, it's so true when you're going through different experiences. is something that in the last year, as I wrote my book, Growth Point, I went back into history of my life and what my influencers are. And, I think, and all of us thinking about growth for ourselves, it's going back to our upbringing. What are those personal experiences that have formed us to what we are today and can continue to form what we do in the future? And for me, it really started with being the youngest of 7 children and becoming naturally observant, watching them, learning what they do, what I should do, what I should not do. Yeah, I thank them for giving me those lessons before I was the one that kind of, okay, maybe I won't do that. But you know what it did is, that's really, and I didn't know it then. You don't know it at that time. But when you look back on that, I become to realize that I'm just a naturally curious, observant person. And I look at people, I'm like, how did they get to where they are? What did they do differently? Or, what was their mindset to get to that point? And so for me, I've learned that about myself and how to really step into that more and embrace it as something that helps me be my best, and serve those that count on what I do. So I think, it's all of us to have the opportunity to learn from our upbringing and experiences of the past, to help us really just embrace who we are.
Wow. Yeah. That's really, really cool. And what is the role of growth mindset, if you will, in achieving what you just described?
Well, I like to explain it as you believe that you can further develop your innate skills and abilities that you've had since your childhood, that you've acquired over time. So let me first say, the other side of the spectrum of growth mindset is one that's fixed. So this is what I know, this is what I do, this is what I'm good at. And, fixed mindset uses phrases like, well, I don't know how to do that. I've never done that before. I failed at that. And we all have moments when we say that. So I'm not suggesting, because, I've said, oh man, I failed at that one. A growth mindset is this flip of a switch, and really the script, if you will, of saying, I don't know how to do that yet. Yeah. And when you made a mistake or you failed at something, it's saying, what can I learn from this experience? And it's also putting yourself out there to say, who else can I learn from? And again, it's about this belief that you can be better. The belief that you are successful today, you will continue to be successful, and, the steps to take in, you can grow, there's more that you can develop and improve upon. So that's where it comes from. And it shows up in everybody and in some way, shape, or form. But having a growth mindset is one, because when we think about our contribution to the world, it begins with our growth. And so if we're thinking in the mindset of growth, we're able to expand our contributions for ourselves and for those that, we encounter on a day-to-day basis.
And so, as you encounter people in your own journey, in your own work, what type of work do you do with people in this regard? Because it sounds very, very powerful, and got to read quite a bit on the literature on this. What is sort of your role in participating with people's active, journey, I would say?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the beautiful thing about what I get to do, so I lead HR for an incredible nonprofit organization, and I am a founder and CEO of Growth Minded Leadership Group. And, in both of those, I get to work with leaders every day. And, when I say the word leaders, it's a broad term. Okay, this is not necessarily people that have people on their teams. I believe leadership is about inspiring yourself and those around you, and you are a leader. And so the work I do with them is around a process of change, but taking a visionary approach to your growth. And so in the day-to-day work I do, often encounter folks like, I'm not sure what to do, or I really didn't show up the way I needed to show up, or I need help. And those are moments where people have identified what I like to call growth point. You've reached this point where you're saying, okay, wait a minute, there's something different here. And I think we can all say we've had that, and then we say that we're go on with our day, and then there's nothing done with it. The process I like to use for people is help them create their vision for growth, what they envision for self and their future, and how they can learn more about themselves. So when they're in the moments that I've just described, they can look back and say, if I did do something differently, how does it help me realize the future I want to see for myself? And so I work with leaders in a variety of capacities, whether it's in a formal development program, casual conversation like we're having here, or through formal coaching engagements to help them create their playlist for how they can be better tomorrow. And that is first starting with your vision, and ways that you can listen for growth point moments to help you get there.
Wow. And so the types of people that you get to work with, well, how do you sort of describe their, the different archetypes?
Well, this process, approach works with people that, again, believe they are successful and they believe they can learn more and they want to. You need to have a desire, right?
How do you identify that?
Their want and desire?
Yeah, I mean, is it enough for someone to say that they want to, or?
Nah, it's not. But you know what? People will, and so here's the thing. My role as a coach, it's not to force something on somebody. It's to say, so what are you looking to achieve? It's really starting with their awareness, their why, their purpose. Okay. And so once you do that and you help them amplify their awareness of how they are today, they begin to see some gaps like, oh, I see how doing that is not helping me. Okay. So what are some steps that you think you can take to help you there? And so we all have good intentions, different goals, things we want to do, right? And so we establish a structure to that. And what happens, I think, like with many goals and habits we want to form, things seem to fall off. And I think you start to notice do you really want that? Because if the people are not making progress or not putting the effort forward, you said this was important to you and that this would help you get there. So how do we help you get from here to there? Or has something changed for you? Again, it's all about someone's desire. And if they're like, you know what, this is not what I need. Okay, let's start again. But I think, I've had those moments where people have, I would say fallen off and kind of say, I just can't focus on this right now. And you can't force the issue with people. It comes in their own time. You got to meet people where they are. You're not going to be successful in that. And it's not about me. It's about them and their journey. And it's important to remember that.
And key challenges that you observe that people have along this journey?
I think that's a simple process, just not easy to do.
Yeah.
When you think about, because when we think about becoming better and growing, it requires us to form new routines and habits. And just like we're just accustomed to the comfort. And so I would say it's getting outside of that comfort and reminding yourself that it's worth your effort. And so I think that's the biggest challenge, is actually the doing. Because life gets in the way, the other things get in the way that cause distraction. And that's where some regular coaching engagements and conversations with someone that you can say, I set out to do this and I just didn't. And so what got in your way and how can you do it different next time? But our human condition is like that. It's not an easy thing to do. When you look at the process, well, yeah, I can do that. And I've found that myself. In just things that I do. But you have to go back to the reason why you're doing it in the first place.
How do we take this now more to an organizational approach? From an organization's perspective, what should, in your opinion, should leaders keep in mind? Or do you have any examples of successful transitions or types of, different experiences that people have had that transformed organizations? Because it sounds like this, it's, they're a powerful concept, and then how they get translated towards organizational behavior.
Well, it starts with, the organization and what the organization's vision is and what the organization values. Okay, so if there's not this core foundation of we value, the growth of our people, we value and we are focused on serving on our mission, our promise to the people that purchase our product, buy our services. In order to do that, we need to, stand up and grow the people within our organization. And so it needs to start with the business case, if you will, the vision, if you will, from the leadership of the organization to say, this is important. And we are going to focus on this. We are going to ensure space is created for you to do this and develop in the role that you're in. Because it's for the health of the organization, really. If you don't do that, you're left wondering how you're going to meet the challenges that come around the corner, the things that are unexpected. And so what I have found in my experience is, starting with the values piece of helping leaders identify what they value, connecting it to what the organization values, and how people can add to that and see here are some of the aspirational things. Here are some things that we can get to, and people become inspired. And as you connect it to what the strategic plan is for the organization, the vision for the organization, people then can start to connect the impact they have to that. And so what I've seen work best, and what I've done in the organization, what organization I'm with too, is it starts with that C-suite executive leadership team. I've taken leadership teams through, development programs to say, this is what leadership is for us, and defining that, be part of, what does leadership mean? When we say our values, what does that actually mean? When we say we support the development of our people, what is development and to what end? What can people expect? Because you want to set out those definitions so people understand, here's some of the paths that I can take. And then, of course, taking that leadership team through the very central components of an effective leadership. And then I've worked it into line management and then broader in the organization. So there's some common ground and common language as far as what success means and growth means in an organization. So, those are some of the things that I've worked on and seen, some profound results in working with teams.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. Talking about your own vision, if you had to sort of distill your vision for your work or personally, what is it? What is Amy's vision here?
Well, it comes back to how we make a contribution, and it's how we view our growth. And so when we take moments to identify our growth point, meaning how we can be better, we inspire those around us to do the same. And so when we do that, there's that exponential impact where those around us get a better vision of what they see for themselves, and we're living our best life. And so my vision is to see that come through in everything that I do, every decision I make, every client I work with, and the organization I'm with today, that our contribution begins with how we view our growth, and viewing our growth in a growth mindset way helps us all be better. And bringing in practical ways in which for people to do that they see is reasonable, is inspirational as well, is something that I focus on as well.
Yeah, and if you think about what it would take for someone to bring, for example, young entrepreneurs coming and taking these ideas and bringing them into the organization or to themselves or to their own community, perhaps what are some things that we should be keeping in mind, ourselves, as we want to take these mindsets and not just leverage them ourselves, but also empower others around us to have more of a growth mindset?
Well, I think it first comes down to, it centers around a change process because it is it may be a different way of thinking for people. And if it's not a different way of thinking for people, it is rallying people around a common cause and purpose of it. And so first it's saying it's as an entrepreneur, being clear on your vision, having a compelling vision for what you want to see in the future for your business and the people that are part of what you're going to do, the people that you count on. And when you have a clear and compelling vision, meaning you have set out and understand what you believe in, you have answered, who benefits from what you do and the impact it will have, creates this balance for you as an entrepreneur of where you need to place focus in building your business and sustaining its value and growth over time. And so to me, if you don't have that, it's very difficult to move on with other things. As I have worked with people over the years, if you're not clear in your why and your purpose, you just can't really get to anything else.
Yeah. Well, Amy, thank you so much for this time and for sharing your insights and your journey with me over these 20 minutes. Definitely going to be taking a lot of these approaches myself, and hopefully others listening also enjoyed it as well. So thank you very, very much, Amy. Wishing you best of luck in the different people that you work with and the organizations you work with as well.
Yeah.
And I look forward to keeping in touch and cheering from the side. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. I've enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you.